Welcome back. Namibia's green energy journey takes a decisive step forward with the launch of the third Youth for Green Hydrogen Scholarship, now aimed at empowering youth in the Hardap and Kharas regions. The initiative seeks to ensure equitable access to opportunities within green economy. Joining us now is Joseph Mukendwa, Head of Policy, Planning and Strategy at the Namibia Green Hydrogen Programme, to share more on this, what's behind this rollout and what it means for the country's energy future. Joseph, good evening and welcome to the Daily Roundup.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here.
Great.
To start with, talk to us about, what informed the decision to focus on this third scholarship rollout within these two regions that I mentioned earlier.
Okay, no, perfect. So the rollout of the scholarship in general is part of a government-to-government agreement between the Namibian government and the German government. It's actually referred to as the joint communique of intent, where the German government essentially availed resources to support skills development for the green hydrogen sector. So what we then did in 2022, the first cohort was actually announced. And it focused on both masters and TVET students to actually apply in identified occupational areas. I think with that first cohort, we had about 93 students, and it was open to all students across the entire country. Just noticing that it was a growing sector and we need more skills, and research had already shown that the numbers that we're going to need are a lot more than what we currently had. So we had a second cohort that we also ran again across the entire country. But when we reflected after the second cohort, we realized that the two regions, Hardap and Kharas, and excuse me, I know I'm not pronouncing it correctly,
No problem.
but the Hardap and Kharas region in terms of representation, when you look at the students that received the scholarships, I think was not where we wanted it to be. So the government felt that it was necessary for us to have a targeted intervention, scholarships specifically focusing on the two regions so that we can have inclusive development and inclusion for our people across the entire country. So essentially, hence, we have this third cohort specifically focusing on those two regions.
Just unpack a little bit further, because I know, of course, you mentioned that, skills development is part of the reason why the scholarship was made available. But furthermore, how does it align with Namibia's, broader energy transition and green industrialization goals?
Yeah, no, certainly. So Namibia is actually at the forefront of this green transition. We have amazing natural resources in the sun and wind, and we need to take advantage of those, and we've actually been doing so. The Namibia Green Hydrogen Programme under the Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy has been at the forefront of driving that agenda. We have a Namibia Green Hydrogen and Derivatives strategy that we have in place. But then we also launched last year what we are referring to, what is called the Namibia's Green Industrialization Blueprint. And within that blueprint, we've identified several industries that we want to localize that will then create opportunities for our people. I think that is what is important. And again, this speaks to us addressing some of the challenges that we're having, like unemployment, for example. But you would imagine with new industries, it means you need to have people who can actually work in those industries. So research has been done internationally, and we as the program are also currently championing what we refer to as a skills development strategy and plan, where we've identified the kinds of skill sets that are needed and the quantities that are needed for us to really take advantage of this sector. And that is where the Youth for Green Hydrogen Scholarship actually comes in. We've now said, okay, these are the areas that we need, and these are the quantities that we need. So let's get going. Let's ensure that we empower our young people so that they can take up these opportunities.
Joseph, talk to us about some of the success stories that have come from the first and second cohort thus far.
Yeah, no, quite exciting. I must say, skills formation takes a little bit of time. As I said, the first cohort was in 2022.
Right.
So, some of them are just starting to graduate. So some have started working in some of the projects that we have. But I think what I can share with you in terms of an exciting success story to date is we had a number of master's students that had an exchange program. So they actually went to Germany at selected universities to go and learn about some of these things firsthand, some of the technologies that we actually don't have here. And a number of them have come back and have now created an alumni of the Youth for Green Hydrogen students at that level, and are looking to actually set up research and development facilities here in Namibia to be able to champion that. We don't have to send people outside of the country for that. So I'm quite excited about that and looking forward to seeing it come to fruition. Yeah.
What specific fields of study are being prioritized through the scholarship?
Yeah, so what is actually quite amazing, what is coming out, and I think people, when they hear green hydrogen, they always think it's, very very high level, type of skills that are required.
Yes.
But surprisingly, a lot of it is actually within your technical, vocational education and training space. I would say between 60 and 70%, this is what research shows, is actually within that space. So for this particular cohort in the South, we are focusing on that, technical, vocational education and training. And we've identified quite a number of occupational areas that we believe are not only necessary just for green hydrogen, but it's also the types of skill sets that the recipients could potentially go into any other sector. We know that as a country we have the emergence of the oil and gas sector, for example. So we have identified occupational areas such as electrical engineering, fitting and turning, plumbing and pipe fitting, welding and boiler making, automotive mechatronics, and one that is specific to green hydrogen is around solar installation and maintenance. So those are some of the areas that we're focusing on for this third call.
How will the Namibia Green Hydrogen Programme ensure sustainability as well as continuity of all beneficiaries, after graduation?
That is so important. I think the last thing we need is to be training our people for the streets.
Yeah.
I think we've seen a lot of that. And I refer back to what I mentioned earlier around the research that has come out and the training that is being advocated for and the scholarship is focusing on is one that is required within the industries that are actually emerging. And the industry is actually developing. We have quite a number of projects at different stages of development, some in the feasibility, but some have already started operation. As the program, one of our other key focus areas is to support these projects to be able to evolve, develop, and get to the next level, commercialization, and so forth. So you can then immediately see the link. We're asking the very same projects, what are the skill sets that you need in the short to medium term? We train our people to be able to take up those opportunities. And as we support these projects to get to even bigger scale, those opportunities are actually realized. As we train our people, they can actually automatically go into employment. But over and above that, we are also championing, SME development. So we're looking to see how we can support our local Namibians to be able to start or even scale up some of their businesses to provide services to these projects as well. Yeah.
Well, just lastly, I'm sure everybody watching is like, how do we apply? So give us all the details.
I'm not going to share too much. This is just a little bit of a teaser, Mika being here tonight and talking to you. But what I can say is we have our Honorable, or Her Excellency rather, the Vice President of the country, Ms. Lucia Veboy, as the patron for the scholarship. And she'll be launching the scholarship officially on Wednesday in Gibeon, in the Hardap region. So the details will actually be shared then. We have several partners that we're working with, obviously under the banner of the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Arts, it's a very long one, Sports and Culture, I think, working quite closely with the Student Fund as well as SASCAL. But certainly, I think for the youth out there within the two regions, look out for the opportunity. We'll be on radio, we'll be in the papers, we'll publicize it. And we're also looking to be in the region over a period of about 2 weeks to actually share the news and also assist the students to be able to complete the application forms. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time this evening. We do appreciate you being here and all the best with the third cohort.
No, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And send our greetings to Mr. James Newpay. We miss him here on the Daily Roundup.
Certainly do so.